Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hopson, and this is, of course, the official podcast of Punch Drunk Critics. And we are day one post Oscars. Last night's show I thought was really great. I thought it was fantastic. Had a lot of fun. Thank you to all of you in the DC area who came to the Oscar night party at the Arlington Cinema and Draft House. It was great. It was a lot of fun there. Not a lot of surprises, I thought. But I thought they did a great job of building suspense to the things that we wanted to see for the most part, and I thought that was a good thing for the night. But joining me today to talk about it is the only person I ever talk Oscars with, Karen Peterson. How are you doing, Karen?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, good. You had the benefit of actually being there again in the press room. So tell me about that went this year.
It was, it's such an interesting experience. This is my third year covering the
Mhm.
press room, I think. Oops, sorry. Trying to do too many things at the same time. Um, but yeah, this is my third year. Every year is a little bit different. But what is very much the same is that the press room is a bit chaotic when it's hopping, Like
Yeah,
we have stretches where nothing's really going on, but once the winners start hitting that room,
yeah,
it gets crazy. Then you're trying to watch the show and watch the interviews happening at the same time and covering it all, and it's a lot. I am jealous of the companies that get to send like three or four people to that room to
yeah.
cover everything all at the same time.
You were there for Awards Daily this year, right?
I was, yeah. They asked me to go last year, and then I guess they liked what I did, so they asked me to go back. So
Well, why wouldn't they like what you did? Of course they did. Ridiculous. Of course they did. Anyway, let's talk about the night. So, what as someone who's because you are the one of the reasons why I want to talk to you about these things is you are an Oscars expert, in my opinion. You are someone who follows these awards very closely, a lot closer than I do. I wouldn't even watch the show if I wasn't hosting a show every year, which I had to. I probably would be asleep. But as someone who's an expert in these things, what was your general impression of the night?
well, I don't know after last night if I can still call myself an expert. There were a couple of calls I got very, very wrong. But overall, what I was able to see of the show, because I only watched probably about half of it. But overall, I thought it was good. It's definitely good to have a host, and I mean a host. And I thought, there's a lot of different opinions about Kimmel, but I think when he makes it less about him and more about the event, I
Yeah,
think he's actually a perfectly fine host. I think he did a good job for the most part. Um, Definitely felt like things kept moving last night, and so that was good. I thought it really felt like they wanted to celebrate the art of making movies, which is something that has been lost for the last several years. This is something that so many of us have been kind of complaining about for a while, is the fact that it's gotten to, I mean, last year there was the big kerfluffle of wanting to, move those 8 categories to a pre-show. That went over terribly.
mhm.
So luckily they realized we can't do that again, and they didn't. But not only did they bring those back into the main show, they also had moments where they could really show you some of the work of the sound team or the editing, like that montage where they opened. It wasn't just showing scenes of the movies, it was showing behind the scenes of
Right.
making these movies, which I thought was
Yeah,
such a great thing to do.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Before our show hosting tonight, we were lamenting the idea that this might be like this really long show because of all the awards that were going to be given away. But I never really felt it. I thought he did a really good job of doubling up on the awards, putting them in each segment together. I thought they did a really good job of really streamlining it. And in regards to Kimmel, following his monologue, which I think was like 13, 14, 15 minutes long, it felt long, even though I thought it was pretty funny. Um, we didn't see a heck of a lot of him. Like he wasn't there too much. And I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing to see as little of the host as possible. Focus on the stuff that needs to get done. And this one went off mostly without a hitch, I think.
Yeah, I think a good host for an event like this is there to keep the show moving, to kind of jump in when things are if something goes wrong, they can kind of, smooth that over,
Right.
those kinds of things. But really, other than introducing and welcoming everybody there, their job really is to kind of keep a low profile. And I think he did that pretty well. It was definitely an improvement from the last couple of times that he hosted.
Yeah. It kind of messed us up a little bit because Tim and I, we're used to a certain rhythm from the Oscars every year. So at towards the end, when they did best actor, best actress, and then best picture all in a row, we were a little surprised because there was a pretty big moment that happened there at the end. When you had Michelle Yeoh up there and Halle Berry was up there, the two women of color who've won that award over 95 years. And Tim and I were like chomping at the bit to get up on stage to talk about it. And then they jumped right into Best Picture. We are like, oh, we're not going to get a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You wish you could had a chance to really savor that moment a little bit more. But for those who recognize it, it was still a great moment. So let's talk about the movie that I think was the fan favorite of the night. It certainly was Where We Were last night. Everything Everywhere All at Once, winning, I believe, 7 awards, 6 above the line awards. I think is huge. I don't think a film has done that before. I think the most has been like 5. And I think this one won 6 above the line.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying
that's
to think. Yeah, I'd have to fact check that, but I
yeah,
think that's at least very close to true, if not
yeah.
completely accurate.
And you would know better than me, but I think that's the case. Talk to me about that. Were you surprised by any of its wins? I don't think I was surprised by any of it, except for maybe the Jamie Lee Curtis win. But even that one, I wasn't too far knocked for a loop, if I'm honest.
Yeah. So the Jamie Lee Curtis win a week ago shouldn't have, like, before SAG, it shouldn't have happened. But she really turned things around. I think with that SAG win happening
Yeah.
right in the middle of Oscar voting, I think that was where people were just like, yeah, of course we should give Jamie Lee Curtis an Oscar. Um, but but I think if you had asked, like, I think any time in the last week, most people had switched to Jamie Lee, or at least really thought, even if they didn't fully, I still had Angela Bassett in my predictions, but I really didn't feel like that was a safe bet at all.
Mm.
Um, the other one that was surprising a little bit, only because of statistics, is film editing.
Mm.
Because for the last, since, oh, I can't remember which year, but since, okay, the last time, I'm trying to think all my stats. I'm really tired. I'm sorry. The last time a film won film editing without being nominated for a sound, or without winning the sound Oscar, was Argo in
Mm.
2012. But Argo was nominated in both sound categories.
Right.
And Everything Everywhere All at Once was not nominated for sound. So for it to win for editing was a bit of a buster, stats buster. But also it felt like if a stat was going to break this year, that seemed like a logical one to predict.
Mm.
But the prevailing wisdom was that probably Top Gun Maverick would win because it won sound. Um, but yeah, so that's one, just because on paper, it looked like it would be Top Gun, um, but Everything Everywhere was so popular and so loved, and so much of the reason that that movie works is because of the editing. So it makes sense that it would win without a sound nomination.
Yeah. I mean, it's you and I talked a little bit about this last night. It'd be very interesting to see what the ratings for the show are. I don't know if they've come out yet or not. Because there were a lot of popular favorites in this year's show, which we've talked about for months, that there was going to be a lot of popular favorites this year in here. But it really felt like that last night, and like the room we were in, like everybody was rooting, like had their heart set on Everything Everywhere All at Once every time they were up for something. Um, so it feels tangibly different, honestly, the Oscars, when it has movies that are this popular contending for things. I can tell from just the people I know who are casual moviegoers, it feels different.
Yeah. I will say there are some preliminary numbers out, and it does look like the Oscar ratings did tick back up towards 16 million
Huh.
this year, which is a big increase from last year. And one of the things that I know is the reason why they're lower is just because people can't can't stream them. And so many people have cut the cord and they don't have access to cable. And so that's why that number probably isn't a little bit higher. But if they simulcasted it on Hulu
Mm.
or Disney Plus,
Yeah.
the numbers would probably be a lot more. And I think a lot of the reason is because of those popular films getting nominated and people feel connected to the Oscars because they've seen those movies.
There's absolutely no reason nowadays why there can't be a Twitch Oscars simulcast going on. At this point, everything should be simulcast, in my opinion. Like every major event, because there's no single way that people will take in any form of content. So it's
Exactly.
all ridiculous.
If the Super Bowl is doing it, there's no reason why the
No.
Oscars can't.
Exactly. Exactly. What did you think? Did you get a chance to watch any of the Oscar speeches, like the acceptance speeches for last night? Ki Hoi Kwan had a really great one. Everybody from Everything Everywhere had a great acceptance speech, and they were
Oh
all
yeah.
really emotional.
He had everybody in the press room crying. And so did Michelle Yeoh. When both of them, and actually Jamie Lee Curtis too, all three of them when they came into the room,
She's
they all
such a
got standing
cheerleader for that
ovation.
movie. Such a
Yeah,
great cheerleader for that movie. Jamie Lee Curtis has been.
yeah, yeah. It's so true. It's so true. Um, yeah, Keith's speech was just, I mean, it was perfection. He's just such a delightful presence. I think, um, you know, I didn't see very many of the speeches, but I'm trying to think some of the memorable ones. Um, I really enjoyed hearing from the two women who won for The Elephant Whisperers, which was the short
Yeah.
documentary, the first Indian production ever to actually win an Oscar, which is a huge deal. And so that was very exciting. The Natu Natu guys, I mean, absolutely just
I couldn't wait to
delightful
see.
human beings.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to see that performance to see how they were going to pull that off.
Mhm.
And I thought they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
What did you think? Did you get a chance to see Brendan Fraser? Brendan Fraser winning for The Whale.
Hmm.
I think he's always been, of course, the sentimental favorite, but I do feel like it's at least to me going down to the wire. I couldn't tell if it was going to be him or Austin Butler who was going to win last night.
I actually still was pulling for Colin Farrell in that
Oh yeah,
category. Not just because I liked him so much, but because I really thought there was a chance. And I'd love to see the breakdown of the vote totals there because with with Austin having won BAFTA and with Brendan doing so many other things, I really thought there was a world where they split the vote enough that then Colin, who also people loved and people
yep,
loved that movie,
yep.
um, I really thought it could have happened. I mean, Banshees of Inisherin went home empty-handed.
It got nothing. It got nothing
Hmm.
all night. I thought it would at least. I mean, everything everywhere was such a acting juggernaut. It won everything it was nominated
Yeah.
for acting.
Well, yeah, it did. And that's one thing. I mean, it was nominated for 11 awards, it wins 7. I've seen a bunch of people talking about how it's swept, and it's like, no, no, no. A sweep means it wins everything it was nominated for. So the whale swept, but
Right. Right. That is absolutely true.
but yeah, no, I mean it yeah. So it's interesting to look at the numbers. So we have 10 Best Picture nominees. I think 4 of them went home without a single Oscar.
Tar didn't win anything.
Tar, The Fablemans, Banshees.
Yeah.
There's I think there's another one that
Triangle
didn't
Sadness
win.
didn't win anything, did it?
No, yeah, there you go.
They couldn't even get one of their stars who died on the in memoriam. So I mean, it
Mhm.
was a really bad night for them.
Yeah.
They really got snubbed.
So true.
No,
Oh man.
that's was that a surprise for you? Like for me, I was really surprised that Banshees couldn't come away with anything because it was nominated
Yeah,
for a screenplay as well, wasn't it?
it was. Yeah. With with the way that the guilds over the last couple of weeks have just fully come out in support of Everything Everywhere, I wasn't totally surprised that that ended up winning screenplay, but I did still think there was a chance that Martin McDonagh could pull it out just because
Right.
of the fact that, as you're voting and you love all these movies and I don't know. I tend to think of it like if I had an Oscar ballot, what would I be doing? And I'm like, I've given Everything Everywhere a lot of votes. Maybe I should pick something, another movie that I love somewhere else. And I
Yeah,
just, I kind of hoped that would happen. Um, I'm not entirely surprised it didn't, but yeah, it's a little sad. But I mean, Banshee still got walks away with 9 nominations. It's a,
yeah,
it's
a great movie.
obviously people love it. Obviously the Academy loved it. They just voted for other things just a little bit above it.
Right. You and I always say just because something didn't win doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Like
Right.
Banshees of Inisherin is an
I mean,
amazing movie.
yeah.
I love that movie. If it was up to me choosing for best actor, I mean, I would have picked Paul Mescal for After Sun, but Colin Farrell would have been a close second. That's how I would have gone. But hey, I don't get to choose, and you know what?
Yeah.
That's fine. They're in there, and I'm happy. They're acclaimed films for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, did you get a chance to watch the performances? I know you were busy back there. Did you get a chance to watch any of the musical performances or anything like that?
We got to see Natu Natu, which was just perfect. And I got to see Rihanna's performance. Those are the only ones that we got to watch in full. I caught part of Lady Gaga's. Um, and I was just like, wait, that's all the words are? Like I've heard that song so many times. I was like, I feel
Did
like
you
there's
just
some lyrics missing here.
this might surprise you, Karen. But Diane Warren was there, and she had a song that she was performing. Yeah, Diane Warren. I know she's
What?
never she's
She was
never
not
there.
nominated?
Yeah, she's never there or anything, but she was there, and she had a song for a movie that I honestly don't remember at
Didn't
all.
really get a release. It got the qualifying release, and then that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah, I got a
Cannot
lot of
find it
questions about it last
anywhere.
night. I got a lot of
I
questions about
bet.
it. Like, they're like, what is this movie? Is this? I got a lot of questions from people who thought this was women talking because the titles are the same, are very close to the same.
Hmm.
It's like let women talk or talking. I can't remember the exact title,
Tell
but
it like a
felt
woman.
like a woman. Thank you. And I got a lot of questions from people who thought that it was women talking, and I was like, it's not the same movie. I know they sound the same. But it's
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. Also, I had not actually heard the song. I did hear part of it last night, and I was just like, wait, this is what that song is? This isn't even a good song. There are so many, and I love Diane Warren, and I really do want her to win a competitive Oscar one of these days,
right.
but not for that.
Come on. At this point, it's better that she not win. At this
Why?
point, it's better that she's not winning because she can be the 15, 18, 20 time nominee. But you don't want to
She
be
can
like
be the Thomas Newman of the
the,
score category.
I'd rather be 0 for 25 than like 1 for 21 and 24.
Or how about 5 and 52? Wasn't that the number for John Williams?
Something like that, yeah. We love you,
Oh,
Diane Warren, but you don't really need to win at this point. Yeah, you're good. You're good,
I
I
mean,
think.
she gets to come to all the parties anyway,
Yeah.
so
She'll be there next year with some song for some movie.
I would honestly really like her to win just because I love her so much. But she has an honorary Oscar now. The Academy at least finally did that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right. So, any final thoughts on the night? Anything that surprised you or anything like that before we head out? I thought it was a great show overall. I'm happy with all the winners, regardless of whether they were my picks or not. I'm ultimately not upset about any one particular thing.
I was upset about one particular thing,
Oh,
and
what
you
was
know
this?
what it
This is
was.
why I asked
You
the
know
question.
what it was.
I want to hear you say it.
I cannot believe I cannot believe that they picked the guy who recreated 1917 over Mandy Walker for Elvis in cinematography. And now we are 0 and 95 in Oscar years of women winning that award.
Yes.
A woman still has never won cinematography. Women have deserved it. Quit saying, well, if they would, shoot a movie that, yeah, no. Mandy Walker, she's the first woman to win ASC. Uh, she absolutely should have won the Oscar. And
I thought the woman was going to win it last year for Power of the Dog. I forgot her
Ari
name.
Wegner.
Ari Wegner. And yeah, it's 2 years in a row where I thought it was going to happen, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, Greg Fraser beating Ari last year didn't totally surprise me for a number of reasons. Some of it being the popularity of the movie, and some of it being the popularity of the nominees themselves. Mandy Walker is very popular. The guild loves her. There's a lot of people in the Academy love her. They know her. She's been around for a while, and she's really outgoing. Ari Wegner is a very reserved person. She does not like to be in the spotlight. She's
Yeah,
awesome. Like when you get to chat with her, she is so fun. She's really sweet.
absolutely.
But she's very reserved and very much doesn't want to be in the center of attention at all. Not that Mandy Walker like wants to be, but she's just a lot easier to engage in a crowd. So
Yeah.
and I really thought it would happen, and her work in Elvis is so beautiful. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
fantastic. It's really really great.
How many awards did
Um,
Elvis come away with last night? Did it get any?
I'm actually just realizing I think Elvis went home empty-handed
Yeah.
too,
Yeah, I don't think it did either.
because Ruth Carter ended up winning costume. The Whale won makeup.
And didn't win any of the technical categories because those were either all quiet on the Western Front
Mm-hmm.
or
Or
in most
everything,
cases,
or yeah.
yeah. I don't think it won anything.
Wow, we had 5 Best Picture winners go home empty-handed.
Yeah.
Nominees, I mean.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's crazy.
that's crazy. I
Yeah.
got to do some checking on like like what are the stats on that?
Yeah. That was my
Um,
big thing. I was really happy about All Quiet on the Western Front doing extremely well. I love that movie. I know you don't have quite the same feeling about that as I do, but I was really happy to see that movie do well. Um, yeah, so I was overall happy with the night. I am shocked about Elvis though, a little shocked. So that's
yep,
just anyway.
yeah, crazy
Oh,
stuff. But overall, I think there's some really great things that happened last night, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis, when she came into the interview room, she was uh she was talking about how one of the big things about Everything Everywhere All at Once being recognized the way that it has and being embraced the way it has, not just by audiences, but by the Academy and by all the guilds too, is that she really hopes that this opens the door for people to be more accepting, like awards bodies to be more accepting of genre films,
mhm.
which I think it's easy to kind of forget that Everything Everywhere is a genre film, but
Yeah,
it is. And so I agree with her. The other thing too, just on the subject of like hoping that people embrace things more, Guillermo del Toro uh wins for Pinocchio. It's only the second stop motion animation film ever to win that category. And um and he really had a lot of good things to say about why stop motion animation is so important. Not just is it amazing and beautiful and artistic, but it is more accessible um, as a medium than any other type of animation, because even kids, anybody with a camera is able to create
right.
a stop motion film.
Yeah,
And so he's wanting to introduce a lot of projects. He's got a new scholarship and a new program in Mexico to help
yeah.
foster this new generation. So hopefully we'll see more acceptance of both of those, more genres, more stop motion.
Yeah, totally agree. You and I talked a little bit about, like I said last night, and I remember watching Everything Everywhere, not really even thinking about it as a genre movie. And they did a pretty good job of promoting it as something that wasn't, which I think is a big reason why it's done so well in the Oscar season. People don't think about it as a genre movie. If they did, it probably wouldn't have done as well. Honestly, it's probably unfortunately true.
Yep.
And as far as the Del Toro, when it comes to stop motion, we talk about it every time Leica has a film. We talk about how much work, the punishing work they do to make those movies. It's really extraordinary. And Del Toro, if anybody can help put a little shine on that form of animation, it's him. So I'm glad to see that his next movie is also going to be a stop motion film as well. And I hope he sticks around in this genre for a while. I'd rather see him make movies like this than watch him make another, Crimson Peak or something. I'd rather watch him do stuff like this.
Why don't we do it all? Do it all. Do
I
a
know he
stop
can.
motion sequel to Crimson Peak.
Exactly. We should do a stop motion Pacific Rim. That'd be amazing. I'd see him try something. I would see him try something that's not not something totally unexpected in like the stop motion realm. I like to see what he would do with that, honestly. But yeah, Del Toro's fantastic. I'm glad to see him win for that movie. Although honestly, all the best animated feature movies are really great. I thought
Yeah.
um,
It was a strong year for animation.
it really was. It really was. And I was surprised. And this is one year where I actually sat and watched all the like short films too, which I don't always do that. And I was surprised
Some
by
real gems.
there were, although I was surprised by the live action win, if I'm honest. Uh, the
I
Irish one.
I actually didn't get a chance to see that one, so it's
Yeah, it
like
was like the one of the ones I didn't like out of the group, but
I predicted it. I went 3 for 3 in my short films.
I thought La
Usually the
Poupille was going
ballot
to win.
buster for people.
I thought La Poupelle was going to win because it was produced by Disney and had Cuarón as a producer. So I thought, they'll just take that one for that reason.
I
It's a
thought
good
it would
film.
until I watched it. I really like it, but I was watching it going, there's no way people are gonna vote for this.
I wanted Night Train to win. Night Train was
Night Train was
really
good.
really good. I thought 'cause I had no idea where it was going.
Yeah,
But
that
anyway,
one was good.
so that was last night's Oscars. Karen Peterson, I am glad you took some time to talk to me about it. Everybody should follow her, well, at Awards Daily for one, but also at on Citizen Dame, your podcast, which is really great, and people should tune into that.
Thank you so
So,
much.
yeah, no, thank you for tuning in. Thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of Cinema Royale. I'm Travis Hopson. You can find me every day at punchdrunkcritics.com and on loads of other places too. You don't need me to run down the list. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you next week. Goodbye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.